All right, thank you very much, Noah. And of course, we'll be looking forward to your story later on in the evening, just to understand what else has happened at the KICC, what other innovations have come up. Now, we want to switch gears and have that conversation around the youth, particularly their role as far as climate change is concerned. Now, earlier over the weekend, one of the stories that made headlines is the fact that the number of children attending the summit was reduced from 500 to about 100. And I have my guest this afternoon who was at the summit now, that is Grace Salome Sichula, who's a Plan International advocate for gender and climate change. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
So I just want you to take us through the role of youth, such as yourself. What is the role that the youth have to play in as far as climate change is concerned?
All right. Thank you so much for asking me that question. First of all, I'd like to take you back as an Africa, as a continent. If you can look, if you can look in Africa, we share the largest percentage of the largest population of Africa are the young people, and which it shows that we have a very big role in actually advocating for climate change solutions. Not only advocating, but we also have a role to raise awareness for climate change. We also have a role to educate or maybe to sensitize issues around climate change.
Yeah.
Why do we do this? We do this because in most of the parts that we come from, as I said earlier on, we have the largest percentage. But also, you know, there is a saying that we are the leaders of tomorrow. We are the leaders of tomorrow and everything. But now, if leaders of tomorrow cannot be given that ample time to understand the issues that are around them, it means that this leadership that is being anticipated for tomorrow, it won't do anything which is right.
But again, Salome, one of the things that a lot of young people have had a problem is feeling that their voice is not loud enough. What more do they need to do to get themselves in those rooms where the big decisions are being made?
Okay, there's something that I want to say. For young people to be influential, actually, for someone to be influential, actually, they need power. And most of the times, it is just unfortunate that in Africa, the most powerful people are not young people. Meaning that in the most decision-making bodies that we have, there is less youth representation in them. So having such kind of a thing, it makes them not to voice out, not their voices to be heard, just because they do not have any representation in them. But now, if we can have young people in such kind of bodies, in the decision-making bodies, that means this will ensure them to voice out, and also not only voicing out, but also the governments to take part in acting on issues that they voice out about. But there's one thing that I want to say. It's about capacity. And then when we talk about capacity, we do not only mention capacity as it is. We mean the anticipatory capacity, the transformative capacity, the absorptive capacity. These are the things that we need as young people. We do not only want to be built with skills, but we also want to know how can we move forward with the skills that we have been given as young people.
All right, so you'll find that a lot of young people across the continent are very innovative, and particularly, so when you look at young entrepreneurs and the role they play in terms of developing sustainable technologies, do you feel that they're doing enough, or is there room for a lot of improvement?
I think there's there's need for improvement. In this, I'll say it in this way. Most of the times we've had great innovators in Africa. But now if you can look around, where are these innovators? And why is it that they're not there? And if it is less support that we're having, what can we do as, as African governments to actually push our innovators to reach their goal? And these are the same people who will help us to actually combat climate change issues. For example, I would actually urge the the governments to invest in young innovators. By investing, I do not just mean, investing as such, but now there should be more funding, resources to push young people to do what they want, because this is the thing that will help us to combat climate change issues. For example, I was talking to one of my friends in Zambia. I attended the Sustainable Development Goals African Summit. I was saying that, you know, most cases, African young people are left out. They feel left out just because we do not invest more in them, especially the innovators. I'm a young person. Let's take that I am an innovator. I have a very good thing that I've developed, maybe to combat to combat climate change issues. But now, if there's no one to help me, and then there's someone from the Western actually comes in to say, Grace, okay, there is this. If you can actually come to this part, we'll actually take you, and maybe we'll actually fund your school and all whatnot. We'll invest in your education and all whatnot. As a young person, I need to grow as well.
So, Grace,
I would definitely accept the offer and go to the West, but our continent is suffering.
Yeah, so at the same time, Grace, you were at the KICC earlier on, and of course, when you look at the representation of the youth, do you feel like we have enough youth being represented at some of these summits, at some of these decision-making tables, at some of these forums, which then end up having consequential decisions made?
Personally, I do not think so. Yes, we might have a good representation, but I think the good representation comes from the host country. Yes, like from here, Kenya, right? But if you can look, I am a Malawian. I am from Malawi. There are a few delegates, of course, who have come from Malawi. And it is just fortunate that I'm here as a Malawian delegate. But I would wish to actually have more youth representation in summits like these ones, because we use the very same summits to actually voice out our, you know, our issues, not only voice out, but we also advocate for them. We also, you know, like try to connect with people who can help us in different projects that we do. But now, if I am only here as a Malawian delegate, but what about other people? I cannot represent the whole population of Malawi here. Yes, I can, but I feel like there is need to do more on that.
All right, so in your advocacy role, what are some of the things that you have put in place to bring more youths to be climate centric and to understand that this actually is where the problem is, and these are some of the solutions that we need to champion for going forward?
For us, or maybe for me, we do more on advocacy as well as campaign, raising awareness campaigns. This is what we do actually. We advocate, not only advocating for the youth, but we also we also advocate for young women and girls to take part in everything that we do, because we believe that these people, this population, this is the population that suffers more from the outcomes of climate change.
All right, so for you, again, is this something that you have done out of passion? Is this something you have studied? Or where does your interest for climate come from?
This is something that I have passion for. I studied Bachelor of Science in Gender and Development, but I have passion for climate change. I have passion for climate change because I feel like where we are going, issues to do climate change, if we do not take action, or maybe if we do not, you know, speak about it, then we are the population that will suffer in 5 years to come or in 10 years to come. Already there's you know, the issues to do with high, I mean temperature, rising of temperature in Africa, which is posing a threat in the most of young people's lives.
All right, Grace, thank you so much for making time to come and speak to us. And of course, we want to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll be having more climate-centered conversations. Stay with us.